My next guest tonight, from her roles in The Big Bang Theory and Blossom, and is the new host of Jeopardy. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Mayim Bialik.
Mayim Bialik is no stranger to making headlines. Whether she's dazzling fans with her award-winning performances or sharing her thoughts on science, faith, and family, she's always been a topic of conversation. But lately, it's her personal transformation that has people buzzing. What's sparking so much interest? What's behind this transformation? Join us as we dive into the story of Mayim Bialik, her evolution, the challenges she faced, and why her journey is resonating with so many people today. Mayim Bialik's shocking transformation. Mayim Bialik, who entertained crowds for years as Amy Farrah Fowler on the popular CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory, is now showing her comedic abilities to extend far beyond the TV screen. Although she's now busy with exciting new projects, including her stint as a guest host on Jeopardy and starring in Call Me Kat, Mayim recently reminded fans of her comedic chops in a light-hearted TikTok video that had everyone in stitches. In the video, Mayim went for a shot at one of the viral filters that TikTok users are using to see how they appear to age. Nevertheless, the outcomes were more funny for her than for her audience. The neuroscientist actor-actress was clearly startled to see the smoothed version of her face, and her astonishment was on full display. She captioned the video, "Worst trend to try ever. Ever, ever, ever," adding a crying and laughing emoji to drive home her mix of horror and humor. Fans immediately flocked to the comment section to laugh along with one another, playfully teasing Mayim and congratulating her for being so humorous. One person admitted that they didn't recognize her at first, writing that they thought the video featured a sad, disappointed lady, until they saw Mayim's name pop up. Another fan joked that Mayim was trying her best to keep it together, but couldn't help cracking up. Inspired by Mayim's bravery, some followers decided to test out the filter themselves, while others swore they wouldn't dare. A viewer commented that they had experienced something similar, but lacked the courage to share it online. Another joked that the filter didn't even make them look much older, and someone else flat out declared she refused to use it. The consensus was clear. Although the aging filter may not be the ideal one, it became a funny scene for the fans thanks to Mayim's reaction. Not surprisingly, even off-duty, she can still produce smiles. Silly or clever, whether bumbling some chick scientist on the network or making fun of herself on TikTok, Mayim Bialik is always up for some good laughs for all of us. Mayim's TikTok moment was hilarious, but could her love for a certain sci-fi series be just as unexpected? Mayim Bialik's love for Star Trek stuns fans. Amy Farrah Fowler, Mayim Bialik's character on The Big Bang Theory, might not have been a big fan of Star Trek, but the actress herself is a proud Trekkie. Actually, her interest in the cult sci-fi program set her on a breathtaking journey of change that would make Sheldon Cooper, played by Jim Parsons, proud. A few years back, Mayim paid tribute to Star Trek by dressing up as some of its most iconic characters, including Spock, played by Leonard Nimoy, Captain Kirk, played by William Shatner, Data, played by Brent Spiner, and Janice Rand, played by Grace Lee Whitney. The shoot was made for the August 2016 cover of CBS Watch. It is a special edition magazine commemorating the 50th anniversary of the popular franchise. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight to promote the feature, Mayim shared how she grew up watching Star Trek and revealed one particular scene from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, that left a lasting impression, and not in a good way. Mayim also remembered to have been quite young when she first viewed The Wrath of Khan, and the scene where Khan throws slug-like beings into the ears of Pavel Chekhov and Captain Tyrrell scared her. She explained that the scene disturbed her so much that she couldn't stay in the theater. She and her brother had to go and look for a payphone in the lobby to call their parents to come and get them. And decades later, Mayim confessed that that memory still terrified her. Years later, when she posted a snippet of the interview on social media, she wrote that it still haunts her to this day, and then used a shaky emoji to tell how much the scene affected her. Mayim's costumes for the photo shoot, especially Data Makeover, were such perfect likenesses that it didn't take long for the fans to admire her costume. People have often commented on her social networks posts and have praised the makeup aesthetic and the care given to the details. Folks quipped that Sheldon would definitely agree, while others did their part to express their feelings about the ear slug set piece. Like Mayim, they couldn't forget the terror it caused. One fan commented that they had been afraid for months as a child, convinced something was going to crawl into their ear while they slept. Although the scene still sends shivers down her spine, Mayim's love for Star Trek never fades. Her homage to the world of the franchise is not only an expression of her fandom, but also a demonstration of her ability to be joyful and take on roles that stimulate her. If Sheldon Cooper were real, he'd no doubt give Mayim an enthusiastic thumbs up for her dedication to Star Trek, especially her impressive Data costume. From playing a quirky scientist on TV to becoming a real-life academic powerhouse, could Mayim's journey be the most unexpected twist of all? The unexpected journey of Mayim Bialik. Mayim Bialik first became a household name in the early 90s when she played the smart and spunky teenager Blossom Russo in the sitcom Blossom. The role quickly endeared her to audiences as her character stood out for her wit and charm. Unlike many child actors of her time, who often ended up in legal trouble, battling substance abuse, or embroiled in family drama, Bialik's story took a refreshingly different turn. She managed to stay grounded, avoided the pitfalls of fame, and maintained a strong, supportive relationship with her parents. Rather than rebel against the system, she thought ahead about her own future and made a risky decision to invest herself in her education. Having blossomed to a huge success, Bialik did not walk on the standard Hollywood route. She did a sabbatical from acting and went to school at UCLA to study neuroscience. Her pursuit of academic goals was no mere sideline activity. It was a wholehearted endeavor. Interest in science and commitment to achieve success motivated Bialik to obtain a PhD in neuroscience, an achievement only by herself, and indeed, even for a former child prodigy. Even if in an ideal world Dr. Bialik could have devoted her life to science, she has again surprised everybody. She returned to Hollywood and became a part of the cast of The Big Bang Theory, one of the biggest sitcoms of the day. On the show, she played Amy Farrah Fowler, a quirky and socially awkward neuroscientist. Fans instantly loved the character, and Bialik became a standout star of the series, which ran until 2019. Not one to rest on her laurels, Bialik kept reinventing herself. After The Big Bang Theory, she took on the lead role in her own sitcom, Call Me Kat. Further, she caused ripples in a completely different domain when she became one of the presenters of the historic television game show Jeopardy! Her ability to connect with viewers, paired with her intelligence, made her a natural fit for the role. On the surface, Bialik's lived experience might appear to be one of a succession of successes. As if Bialik touched everything, it becomes precious metal. Yet, she has been quite frank about the fact that her journey has not been easy. Beside career peaks, Bialik has also experienced her own individual challenges. These experiences have provided her with an unusual insight, which she often communicates as a podcaster and social media user. Could it be that Mayim Bialik's rise to fame actually deepened her sense of isolation, setting the stage for a surprising shift in her personal journey? From Hollywood starlet to outsider. Mayim Bialik first caught the public's attention when she played the younger version of Bette Midler's character in the emotional film Beaches. Her natural charisma shone through on screen, making her stand out. This pioneering success led to her most famous role as Blossom Russo in the popular sitcom Blossom. Audiences embraced her smart, relatable treatment of the offbeat teen portrayed in the show, and the show aired for 5 commercially successful seasons, pioneering Bialik's place in the firmament of pop culture. Despite her rising fame, Bialik struggled with deep feelings of not belonging. She once explained to Yahoo Entertainment that growing up under a constant spotlight as a minor celebrity did not necessarily bring her a sense of normality. Indeed, she disclosed that she owned the feeling of being other than her that was grounded in her upbringing as a child of first-generation Jewish immigrants. Her grandparents, who came to America from Eastern Europe, all lived close by in a tight-knit Bronx community, where life looked very different from the typical American experience. Bialik looked back at her life in terms of how often the world she inhabited felt very different from the world visible to her eye. She recalled that English wasn't the primary language spoken in her household, and her family celebrated Jewish holidays that weren't observed by most Americans. She described this as a childhood where nothing felt normal to her, and admitted she always felt like she stood out. Ironically, her success on television only heightened these feelings. She went on to say that the exposure she received as a sitcom actress only made her an outcast, and she felt worse. According to Bialik, being in front of the television and in public was an experience that seemed anything but normal, and only underscored how unusual her life was in comparison with the lives of other children her age. Could the very uniqueness that set Mayim Bialik apart in Hollywood also be the source of her deepest struggles and challenges? The unusual girl in Hollywood. When Mayim Bialik invited her former Blossom co-star, Jenna Von Oy, to her podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, the two reminisced about their time on the show and dug into what made it stand out from other sitcoms of its time. Bialik described how the relationship between their characters was unique from the usual representation of female friendships seen on television at that time. She mused about the revolutionary nature of the show and how it dealt with a powerful female lead who did not conform to a prototype of what young girls on TV were supposed to look like. Bialik shared an interesting tidbit about the origins of Blossom. She explained that the protagonist was originally intended to be a boy, when network producers many years ago did not believe a pilot that included an adolescent girl would be a hit. However, the producers took a chance on her, creating a series that became beloved by fans and gave her a platform to portray a character who was quirky and relatable in ways that weren't often seen on TV. Looking back, Bialik said her role as Blossom put her in a unique position. She went on to say that in Hollywood, the hippie or different-looking friend was usually a sidekick, but on Blossom, she was the lead. She pointed out how unusual it was for a show to focus on a lead character who didn't fit conventional beauty standards. However, that uniqueness also came with challenges. Bialik also confessed that the network's public relations department, despite wanting to promote the series, did not know how to sell it, given that it did not fit the predictable formula they were accustomed to. She told us that it was not good that people were sometimes very critical of her appearance, and that she had never forgotten those remarks which she had on her 14th birthday. It wasn't only the public's harsh words that stung. Bialik recalled a particularly painful moment in 1994, when Saturday Night Live aired a parody of Blossom. Cast member Melanie Hutzel portrayed her in the sketch, wearing a large prosthetic nose that exaggerated her features. Bialik admitted in an essay for Variety that she hoped no one had seen it, but her worst fears came true. Many of her high school friends had watched the show and couldn't stop talking about it. She said the spoof wasn't subtle and left her feeling deeply ashamed. How did the fame that highlighted Mayim's uniqueness also intensify the challenges she faced with faith and public opinion? Faith, modesty, and dealing with criticism. Mayim Bialik is not only a good actress, but also does a good job of using her platform to discuss what is important to her life. From her faith to her personal values, Mayim has never been shy about sharing her beliefs, even if it means facing backlash. In a recent interview with Fox 411, Mayim reminisced about a visit to Israel that triggered an unanticipated social media storm. As a proud Jewish woman, she explained that her visit wasn't politically motivated, but simply to see a friend serving in the Israel Defense Forces. Yet, she faced harsh criticism and hateful comments for even mentioning her trip. She also described how disoriented she was by the response, stating that just for saying that she went to Israel, she was met with the same degree of hostility and anti-Semitism as if she had been involved in a scandalous political proclamation. Mayim remarked that this experience revealed an unsettling truth for some. Just her being Jewish and visiting Israel was enough to provoke hostility. She expressed concern over this reality, saying it should alarm people. Mayim further discussed the difficulties of being an observant woman in Hollywood, where religious faith is typically seen as incongruent. She agreed that celebrating or being openly observant or religious is not the style for the entertainment business. Still, she has formed a network of sympathetic peers with whom she studies Jewish texts once a week. For her, being a practicing person of faith is profoundly rewarding and takes up a constant in her existence. Although Mayim says she is uninterested in the hassle that comes with institutionalized religion, she strongly identifies with a divine being. She talked about her religion as unshakable, comparing it with the belief in gravity of an unmoving body. Her religious observances include shutting down her social media for the Sabbath, enjoying family dinners, and occasionally attending synagogue. But she also understands the plasticity of Jewish law and welcomes Judaism's flexibility to change and adapt to these varied periods and the present context of advanced times. One difficulty Mayim frequently has to contend with is the stereotype that faith and science are incompatible. Because of her background in neurosciences, she's often caught in debates with men and women who are curious to know the extent to which her scientific knowledge supports her religious faith in God. While she welcomes meaningful discussions, she admitted that some people simply want to argue and tell her she's wrong. Another thing for which Mayim is deeply devoted is modesty, a value based on Jewish belief. She agrees with dressing modestly as a means of both privacy and chastity, claiming that although she has a body, it does not mean that she wants to expose it. Mayim stated that she does not feel embarrassed about her body, but she does not feel any need to dress in provocative ways, not even while swimming. This perspective has, at times, got her mischaracterized as prude, which is an epithet she denounces entirely. For her, it is important that both children and boys, as well as including her own sons, learn that modesty is not a matter of shame, but a matter of personal choice. Mayim wanted to discuss, for instance, modesty and others. On her lifestyle blog, groknation.com, she described the site as a means of manipulating her attitude and opinions in a more individual, private fashion. Different from the other platforms of the celebrities, Mayim insisted that her website will be unique, prioritizing the authenticity rather than the luxury lifestyle content. If questioned about the next season of The Big Bang Theory, Mayim would neither reveal anything. However, she teased that Season 9 would pick up right where Season 8 left off, diving straight into the unfolding relationship drama. She promised fans some hilarious moments to look forward to. Through it all, Mayim Bialik continues to prove that she's more than just an actress. She's a person of faith, a devoted mother, and someone unafraid to speak her truth, even when it's not the popular thing to do. Asked about the next season of The Big Bang Theory, Mayim would say nothing about the specifics. Nevertheless, she hinted that Season 9 will immediately pick up the story from the story of Season 8 by going into the moving plot lines of the romantic stories. She hinted at some of the fun to expect for fans. While Mayim's faith sparked debate, her financial reality, post-Blossom, tells a different story. How did it really unfold? Mayim Bialik, finances after Blossom's success. When people think of former child stars, it's easy to assume they left their shows with overflowing bank accounts and the kind of financial freedom most of us can only dream about. Yet, Mayim Bialik's life, after starring in 5 seasons of the hit comedy show Blossom, was nothing like that. On one of her podcasts, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, she shared her experience regarding the discrepancy between her financial situation as a young actress and the general expectations of people. Mayim explained that the television industry back then wasn't as lucrative as it is today, especially for actors on sitcoms that weren't huge hits or cultural phenomena. She also noted that in her day, much lower salaries for actors and especially for young female leads in shows that were moderately successful but never became a franchise were the norm. In fact, when she started college, she didn't have the financial cushion to say she'll never have to work again. But rather, Mayim revealed that she struggled with financial difficulties that her fans might be surprised to know, given that she is a TV star. She described how she had to budget carefully and even take on jobs like tutoring to help make ends meet. She admitted that her earnings from Blossom didn't set her up for the entire universe, and she had to work hard to pay for her education. During an interview on Jaleel White's podcast, Ever Actor, she went into more detail about her finances. Mayim also noted that she gets a lot of misconceptions about the financial realities of her life because of Blossom. She clarified that this wasn't the case. She described that the program was never syndicated, which would have, with royalties, generated a steady income. Without that extra financial boost, her annual salary for Blossom stayed below 6 figures, even during its run. Looking back, Mayim wants people to understand that her journey wasn't one of instant wealth or lifelong financial security. Instead, she had to navigate the same struggles many people face when it comes to making ends meet, especially during her college years. It is a lesson in the fact that achieving media prominence does not always yield a lasting financial success, especially for actors in an industry where fortunes and opportunities can be so dramatically different. While Mayim's financial journey wasn't what many expected, how did her personal life take an unexpected turn, reshaping her priorities? Mayim Bialik on divorce, co-parenting, and building a new normal. In 2003, Mayim Bialik tied the knot with Michael Stone, and together they built a life that included their 2 beloved sons. Nevertheless, in 2012, the pair got to know the end of their relationship as husband and wife. Mayim gave her readers the painful disclosure of a difficult event in her blog on her Caveller website. She wrote that after a great deal of reflection and soul-searching, she and Michael had made the decision to part ways. She didn't sugarcoat the reality of the situation, describing divorce as an incredibly sad and painful process, especially for their children. She expressed how heartbreaking it was to face something so difficult as a family, Emphasizing that the decision wasn't made lightly. Although it was painful, she told us that their top priority was the health of their sons. What they tried was to smooth their adjustment to a new way of living in order that their children would be able to comfortably move with their new family structure. Mayim shared that they planned to co-parent while their kids alternated between her home and Michael's. Reassuring her audience, she assured them that things will work out, even if that road ahead is not going to be easy. In the weeks following her announcement, Mayim opened up about how she was handling this major life change. Speaking with Us Weekly, she said things were going as well as they could under the circumstances. She also lauded Michael for sharing in the responsibility alongside herself, even if it was a messy process. Although she stated that it was by no means easy, she was appreciative that their intention was to both support themselves and their boys as best as possible. Fast forward several years, and it's clear that Mayim and Michael's efforts to create a healthy co-parenting dynamic paid off. In 2020, Mayim reflected on their journey, expressing how thankful she was for the partnership they'd been able to maintain as co-parents. She shared her appreciation for Michael and the work they had both done to ensure they could have open and productive conversations when it came to their children. What are your thoughts on Mayim Bialik's incredible transformation? How do you think Mayim Bialik's transformation reflects her personal growth? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.